Hey guys, today's video will be a how to play Absol like a pro guide. Absol is a melee speedster, very squishy, but with a lot of damage, can pretty much one-shot any other enemy squishy very fast. It's also very difficult to play, and Absol can go both in lane and jungle. Honestly, totally up to you which you want to play it. It's viable in both things, so very flexible, can go bot, can go jungle, and can go top lane. This guide is specifically for Night Slash Absol, so Night Slash Absol Sucker Punch is the build I will recommend myself. Not the biggest Pursuit fan, so this will be purely based for Night Slash. For hit items, we will pick up a Scope Lens, make sure this one is level 30. We will pick up Razor Claw. We can also make sure this is level 30 as well. It gives you a bit more crit chance, and Absol is a Pokemon that relies on critting very much. And for the last item, it can be pretty much anything you want it to be. Last patches was Body Barrier. If you still want some more HP and survivability, you can go into Body Barrier. Otherwise, as a jungler or laner, Focus Band is always very good. And if you just want to have pure damage output, honestly, attack rate might be difficult to play, but it's totally worth playing as well. I can only recommend you guys try all of these out. Even Energy Amplifier is something I've been trying out as well. I think all of those are potential third slots. Muscle Band as well. And there's a Korean guy who plays Eos Cookie, but I'm not sure about this one yet. Haven't tested it myself, but maybe after the Body Barrier nerfs it could actually be a thing. But for now, I'm kind of sticking to the attack rate or focus band. And for better item, you pretty much always have eject button. You can also consider full heal, but honestly, I just like engaging on someone, right? And if I don't have eject button, it might be difficult to sometimes reach an enemy Pokemon. And you can also combine your eject button with your Night Slash. So Absol's passive is the most important thing about Absol. It's called Super Luck. Absol has a base crit rate of 15% from level 1 on. And Absol doesn't really gain much crit besides that, though. That's why you always have to run Scope Lens as well. Because if Absol doesn't crit, it does very lackluster damage. So right here we can see if we turn on the slider, we get 5% on level 6, and then another 5% crit rate on level 9. These are the breakpoints as well, and besides that we will not gain much more crit rate. And why does crit rate matter on Absol? Because every single move of Absol can crit. Every single move that Absol has, Night Slash, Pursuit, Psycho Cut, Sucker Punch, Unite move, all of them can crit. So it's very unique, and this is why critting is so important. Let's start with Absol's basic attacks. They actually can have quite a lot of range, as you can see here. Can have decent amount of range, especially early on as well, so very important to understand how much your basic attack range is. And then the boosted auto attack is a double slash, and it also reduces the enemy's defense stats. And another thing that people don't know, it does more damage against a single target. So Absol is very good at singling out one person with this as well. So it's often very nice if you start a combo with the boosted auto attack first and then use your abilities afterwards, if you have the possibility for it. But yeah, boosted auto attack, more target, more damage against a single target. Then we have our basic moves, Feint and Slash. Feint is a, moon sickle. It's kind of skill shot. It's quite weird. It's the same for Night Slash. Goes into like this weird half moon and does a bit of damage, and also bypasses defense stats. So quite interesting, but not really that important. And then Slash, just a straight up, slash in front of Absol. And this thing also has a 15% higher crit chance. So it's gonna be your basic, pretty much last hitting tool. So the way you last hit things in lane is just an instant slash to feint onto something, and you can do Love Burst and secure our Dinos or A-Pumps. Then at level 5 we pick out our Night Slash. Night Slash, again, another moon skill shot. I'm just gonna call them like half moon skill shots. Half moon skill shots, and it's a really weird thing, and it's kind of hard to get used to. So first it does this, and after you hit it successfully, you get another dash. This one is much easier to hit, just straight up in a line, and Absol dashes towards the target. And if you miss it, then it will not happen. So we miss it, and now it's on cooldown. And this skill shot can be very weird on the edges as well sometimes. Like, it might be very hard to sometimes hit it and get it off. So you're always gonna make sure that you aim it very good, and you should get used to how this works. And then the second Night Slash, a lot of people don't know this actually, it has a crazy amount of range. So right here I'm still hitting the Pokemon, and very important to understand, like here again I'm going to show it. From this far away you can use your Night Slash and still hit the enemy Pokemon. I know it looks very ridiculous, and a lot of people are like, wow, how did that even hit this? So yes, very important to understand that this actually has much higher range than the indicator even shows. I'm not sure why, or if that's a bug or not, but has been in the game since forever, and make sure that you understand and use this. Another thing Night Slash does, the lower someone on his own HP, the second one will have a higher crit chance. So it's not missing HP damage, it's just the lower someone is, the higher the chance that the second Night Slash crits. So it's like just an insane finisher. It pretty much always crits when someone is low on HP, and you gotta make use of that. So another very interesting thing is that Night Slash works different on which side you spawn. If you're on the grassy side, so the left side, the half moon will go this way. And now we're in the sand side, and you can see essentially it's mirrored, right? Like, I mean, the map gets mirrored for you since this is normally the right side, but the game makes you think you're on the left side always, right? So now you can see the half moon is the other way instead of the other circle. And it's just something very important to understand because it's easier to hit targets like this, right? Like if I aim like this or the other way, if I'm used to the other half moon and I don't understand, oh, it changes, then I would aim like this. But since I'm on the right side now, I will start aiming the way it's supposed to be. And it's always easier to just land it by trying to aim like this instead of this, because this can bug out. It's always easier to just make sure you hit Pokemon with this side of the half moon. And as I mentioned earlier, you can also combine your Night Slash with the Jack button, so we can do things like this and still get our next dash out as well. So it's very good to maybe surprise an opponent. So again, we Night Slash, we blink in the same direction, and we still get it off. Can do the same with the other part as well. You can do Night Slash, and if you need to reach someone that's very far away, we can do this. And we still reach the person as well. On level 11, we pick up Night Slash Plus, and it's a heal. And it's another heal where bees are just like your best friends ever. So you get a heal for every single target hit, and if you crit as well, or the more you do damage, the more you will heal as well. So another thing that is very good for outplays, and if you play around multiple targets, always make sure you hit multiple things if you're low on HP to even get a bigger heal. On level 7, we pick up Sucker Punch Plus, and I think it's one of the most misunderstood moves in the entire game. So it's a point and click ability move. You lock onto something and you will jump towards the target. And a lot of people don't think understand how this works. So what it does is it's a counter attack. You can block one instance of damage, and that instance of damage will activate Sucker Punch. So Sucker Punch has to be activated by an enemy. It doesn't matter which enemy, for it to stun and do extra damage. So right here, we're gonna go for this blue buff. I'm gonna Sucker Punch, then push back from it, and now we stun and we do extra damage as well. Compared to this, right? Like we do on the target dummy, nothing happens, it doesn't get stunned. I can show it again as well here, just so you guys understand. You do this, nothing happens, they don't get stunned. And you don't have to take damage from necessarily the Pokemon you're targeting. So if I take the bees right here, and I go on the Ordino, as soon as I take damage from the bees, I will still jump towards the other guy I targeted, and will start stunning him. So you don't have to Sucker Punch, or you don't. The person that you're Sucker Punching doesn't have to proc your Sucker Punch. So besides that, you can always look out for things you can run into. So like Pedal Dances, Sludge Bombs, Hyper Voices, anything that's like AoE damage that you can know will proc your Sucker Punch, you can look out for, run into, and then Sucker Punch someone else and activate it with it. It's also very good at dodging Unite moves like Blastoise Unite, Ninetales Unite are my favorite ones to dodge with it. You can pretty much negate everything, and that's why it's such a powerful ability. It allows Absol to teamfight. With Psycho Cut, Absol is a very big glass cannon, but Sucker Punch gives utility, a stun, another gap closer, and just incredible damage as well if it actually lands. On 30 we get Sucker Punch Plus, which pretty much just gives us more attack speed after landing a Sucker Punch, so this is our normal attack speed. Then we use Sucker Punch, and now you can see that our attack speed is much increased. For the Unite move, it has a bit of weird aiming, but you just pretty much aim in one direction. Absol is going to start dashing towards it. Goes pretty much invulnerable, like you can't hit Absol during its Unite move. And at the end of it, it also shoves people back. And all of these instances have a chance to crit as well. So if you get very lucky, you can actually just one-shot someone or like completely AoE people down in teamfights. But yeah, again, Absol a big RNG character. And it's complete RNG if those ticks crit or not, as you can see. But in general, very good to burst down people in teamfights, and it's just like you use it kind of as a way to live as well. So if you're in a teamfight and you kind of get low, you're just gonna start using this just to go invulnerable, and then hopefully afterwards you get your cooldowns back as well. Now for pretty much the basic combo of Absol, it's very straightforward. You always try to engage with Night Slash. If you engage with Sucker Punch, most often you will already lose. Unless the character's out of range, right? If you feel like, oh, I just want to get close to him very fast, so he's very low in HP, you can do it. Besides that, Night Slash will always be engaged. So you Night Slash, then you try to block something with your Sucker Punch, and then you do your second Night Slash. But obviously you also try to get attacks in between. So you like auto-attack them a bit, you try to block something, and hopefully do it, and if not, well, then it might be hard for you to get kills. People who know how Absol works will try not to auto-attack you, and try to predict the Sucker Punch that it doesn't get procced. So that's why it's so important against characters like Hyper Voice, Sylveon or stuff, to understand when they will use an ability, and then against what ability you can proc it. So yeah, we Night Slash in, we try to Sucker Punch either an auto attack or a very important ability. And against certain Pokemon, I won't even use my Sucker Punch early on. Let's say if I play against a Dragonite, I will wait as long as he uses Hyper Beam. So I'm just going to Night Slash in, auto attack this Dragonite, and when he gets slow, I will Night Slash again. And I will only Sucker Punch when I see Hyper Beam, because you can block the entire Hyper Beam damage. Same if I fight against a Talonflame, right, who is Brave Bird. I will wait until his Brave Bird and he's trying to target me, and then wait Sucker Punch to try and dodge this one very important ability. So until then, we don't even use Sucker Punch. Otherwise, against squishies like Decidueye, Cinderace, we pretty much just do Night Slash, Sucker Punch, and Night Slash again, and hope they auto-attack us. I mean, ranged attackers will pretty much always try to auto-attack you as much as they can, right? So they always have their A button pretty much clicked, so very easy to get a Sucker Punch on their auto-attacks. That should cover the basic of Absol, and then jump into some gameplay. And I'm going to talk about lane Absol. Jungle Absol is pretty easy and pretty straightforward, right? Jungling in general, you just clear jungle, get level 5, and roll over games. So I'm going to go over the part that's a bit more difficult to play, which is lane Absol, which is one of my favorite things as well. There's two ways you can fight this. Either you can fight with your ally for this APOM. In this game, I had attack weight, so I went for some attack weight stacks. You can do the same on bot lane as well. So we just go over here. I'm just going to start scoring 6 points, pull the Audino. And this doesn't always work. It depends on what lane partner you have. And especially if the enemies also have a very strong lane, I enjoy doing this as well, just because their certain matchups are very, very hard. So if the enemies have like a 9-hits, Mammothine, really tough on the enemy team, a Hooper, fighting this level 1 Audinos is very difficult. So instead, I'm just going to go for this. I'm going to use my Slash, Feint, as you can see here, as I mentioned earlier, for the last hits. And now we're almost level 5 already. So we're actually doing very, very good. Blink away from the enemy jungler. And we're almost level 5 as a lane up for the first beast. Of course, this doesn't always work. And sometimes if you have a good lane partner as well, they might even be able to steal away the middle Audino and you get very, very far ahead. But there's two different ways of playing it. But if you have a strong ally as well in general, like a Mammothine or something, you can also just fight with them and try to win the early game. But now we level 5 for the Night Slash. And this is where lane Absol just gets super strong, because lane Absol can just secure so many minions so easily, because Night Slash does crazy early game damage, and you can just start running over lanes. Compared to lane Absol, which has to go back to jungle, right? I mean, I guess doesn't necessarily have to go back to jungle, but you kind of want to clear jungle. So yeah, you kill Audinos very, very fast, and you're able to secure them so early, and if the enemies walk up, you can also just kill them very fast. Right here, as you see, 970 damage early game. And again, the second Night Slash pretty much always crits onto low HP target, which means we are so easily able to crit on them and just absolutely obliterate the Audinos. Looking for their Audino now as well, but sadly is already down. And we can just for a cheeky Night Slash here, but sadly, this is not something you have to watch out. Night Slash is very snapback heavy, so gotta watch out for snapbacks. Otherwise, I would have jumped in there, maybe gotten a kill as well. Yes, I might have gotten a kill. Absol's early game damage is absolutely crazy, especially against someone squishy like Greninja. We're just trying to get to level 7 as fast as possible, and after level 7 we will just start being much more aggressive. Without Sucker Punch, it's just we still lack a bit of damage to actually finish off someone, and we're still quite squishy. But as soon as we get Sucker Punch, we're able to kill things very, very fast. So right here as well, we Night Slash in. First, I will start auto-attacking. I will also maybe hopefully get a boosted auto-attack off to reduce the enemy's defense stats, and then when they get lower, we look for the second Night Slash. Now we just try to Sucker Punch him, he was auto-attacking us. But again, necessarily don't want to attack with Sucker Punch first, unless the game, unless you can't really reach with your Night Slash anyways. Try and go for a stack here, but it just doesn't happen. So we just Night Slash away, try to get away. And Night Slash has a pretty low cooldown as well, so we're able to get a lot of distance very, very fast. And with lane Absol, it's actually one of the Pokemon where I'm level 9 on the first Dreadnought, like so often. And then there's no other lane Pokemon where I've been level 9 on the first Dread. Now we're not quite level 9, but still very, very strong as well, almost level 8. Going to steal the spear away, you can see the Night Slash in, Night Slash out, and we are able to pick up the Audino or the Big B super easy. And now we're level 8 as well already. So we're looking very, very strong. And at this point, we want to Night Slash in, look for a Sucker Punch. I really want to kill this Duraludon, but Duraludon is kind of weird matchup, because Heavy Metal will not get him stunned. There we go. The Heavy Metal made my Sucker Punch not stun him, but we still chunked him very hard, and my team is able to pick him off. Also here for the first Dreadnought fight, always Sucker Punch the first stun. You can Night Slash, Sucker Punch the first stun, don't get hit by Dreadnought, and you can start going for it. Also very good last hitting with Night Slash, so I'm just going to start going for it. I'm dropping very low here, but my team luckily is there in the end, and we get the Dread very easily. Absol very, very fast at taking it down. Hit another Night Slash here. I'm just going to Unite move as well, and you can see how fast he dies as well. Of course, my Gengar also hit an ability on him. Get a nice 40 score in, and now we're going to be very aggressive as well. Absol is very good at split pushing, and you kind of want to be 24 aggressive as well. Like you want to test your limits on Absol. It's very important to understand how much damage Absol can do against which Pokemon, and it's something that just comes from playing the Pokemon a lot, right? So if you want to learn Absol, you probably have to play it a good amount. Otherwise, it's gonna, you're probably just gonna die a lot without understanding when I can actually kill someone. Now we go for the bees on bot side. We just look for level 11. On level 11, I'm very confident, I'm very strong. And I get the heal. Absol actually turns very, very good. The heal is a very strong thing on the Night Slash Plus. It allows me to outplay Pokemon as much as I want them to do. I can use white Pokemon to heal back up. If I hit multiple enemy Pokemon as well, I will get a big heal in like 2v2s or 1v3s or whatever. We are outnumbered as well. And here at the Night Slash, there you saw the miss as well. It's very prone to sometimes just miss and bug out a bit. It's a very weird skill shot. And now we're just going to look I'm just did one Night Slash there to maybe have a second Night Slash, because again, easier to hit as well, maybe to finish someone off. Here, I should have not engaged with Sucker Punch. This was a mistake. You should not do this kind of thing. But now we look for another Night Slash. I have Unite move back up. And was looking for something. Another Sucker Punch. We finish off the Duraludon. And now I'm level 11, so I will just look for some white Pokemon to heal off. There we go, there's a small heal. And as soon as I'm level 11, I pretty much always do this. Like in this scenario right here, I only Sucker Punch because I know Greninja is probably going to auto-attack me or his double team is going to damage me. And my Night Slash will not reach him, right? Like, it's just in certain 1v1 scenarios, if you engage with Sucker Punch, you might just lose against certain Pokemon. But in these fights, you can still engage with it, just because it has easier range, right? Like, it's also, you can't miss it. If you Sucker Punch someone, you will still port to him. And if Night Slash misses, right, it's gone for. So you're still able to reach someone much easier. It just has a bit more range. But in general, you obviously don't want to do that necessarily. It just depends on scenarios. It's just not always, but you can do it. Here as well, again, I should have Sucker Punched the Water Gun from the Pokemon. Would have been much better. Now we look for the next fight. Don't have Unite move up. If Absol doesn't have Unite move up, it's very hard to team fight. So you gotta be very careful. Here I Sucker Punch because I was getting hit by the double team. But yeah, we drop so you can see how squishy we are. We drop so fast, so low. But there we Sucker Punch him again. He auto-attack me, he gets stunned, and I get away on 1 HP. We can maybe look for something. I'm circling around the goal to heal up a bit faster. And are we gonna look for another Sucker Punch into into a Night Slash to Sucker Punch? But yeah, we just have to abandon this. Again, you don't want to just throw the game away as well. I'm level 13 right now, so it's gotta be careful. Gotta play around our cooldowns as much as we can. And now, if they go very deep, we can start looking for a Night Slash. Just killing something more. Like, I want my Unite move here, so that's why I killed another Corpfish. I'm 3% away from it. Yes, well, again, I only engage with Sucker Punch because I know that this guy is 1% dead if I do it. And here you can see how much damage my Unite actually does. If it crits, we do a lot of damage, and we get a triple kill very fast. So, when I said earlier, never do Sucker Punch first, it's not necessarily the case. Like, you always have to go from scenario to scenario and understand when you can do it and when not. It's just the optimal way of doing it is not Sucker Punch first, because you can potentially lose a lot of damage. But if you're sure you're about to get hit by something, or again, your Night Slash won't be in rage, just use Sucker Punch as a gap closer. It's just very, like, if you Sucker Punch engage you into a team fight, that's an issue. If you jump into like 4 people with Sucker Punch first, you probably just get instantly die as soon as you run in. But here, yeah, here we do exactly, this is the normal combo. Night Slash, Sucker Punch, he auto-attacks us, and then the second Night Slash, and he gets a one-shot in these 3 abilities, and there's nothing you can do about it. Gonna basically look for bot lane, and we only level 14.5 as like a lane Absol, so I'm pretty much always very high level. Gonna Night Slash this guy, Sucker Punch him, to buff damage him. And Water Spawn Blast is also a great way of getting a Sucker Punch stun on someone. So if you play against any AoE damage on the enemy team, always make sure you can run into it and then Sucker Punch something else. Of course, we don't Sucker Punch the Rapid Spin Blastoise because he doesn't get stunned. But we can use his Water Spout to stun someone else. And now we just level 15 already. Gonna have our Unite move. It's always very important. Have your Unite moves up for team fights. If Absol doesn't have Unite move up for team fights, there's a high chance he will just absolutely die. And here they have a Duraludon who is starting Zapdos, so kind of just have to go for him. I will try to maybe Night Slash eject button as well. There we go. There's the Night Slash eject button. I'm gonna Sucker Punch as well after my abilities are gone, and we take down the Duraludon very easily. Gonna chase now. Here as well again. We have a big Sucker Punch. Didn't have Night Slash up, so. But he was super low below that my Sucker Punch finished him off anyways. I'm gonna start taking Zapdos now, force the enemies in. They're pretty far zoned out. And Absol is very fast at taking Zapdos. So I'm just gonna slowly start doing it, but as soon as they move in, we start engaging on them. I kind of mistake though, I used my Sucker Punch there. Now we go for the last hit on Zapdos, and we do get it. So it was a bit scuffed though. I should have not used my Night Slash there when I saw the enemies moving in further. And now we try to outplay the Blastoise, try to get away. There's a few too many people here. And we get taken down. But we got Zapdos, and the game was secured. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope this was helpful. And yeah, Absol is a very fun character, very fun Pokemon. And I can only recommend you guys doing it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!